married in a week.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good for you.
And I obviously have a decent number of miles, so I've been using that to fly family all over the place, and I'm like deep in the Condor booking like option flow now. I'm like, oh yeah, I see. This is where it connects in Frankfurt. So anyway,
Are you using miles to go to honeymoon?
that's the plan. We need to figure out when and where we're going to do the honeymoon.
Yeah.
But actually, it's somewhat miles determined. It's amazing. You're sitting there like figuring out your Alaska partnerships, and it determines like the honeymoons of your like loyalty members.
So I think the system that we have that works with the light was basically that we have to sit down so that if we move at all, the light's gonna turn on. So if we're sitting, it stays off.
Okay. We want it to stay off?
Yeah.
All right.
Those overhead lights. Not
They're off now.
Okay. Great.
Okay, and we are all ready.
All right. So Drew, tell me about your favorite experience on Alaska Airlines.
Let me try and think about some. Let me give you a few, and you can decide which one are your favorite, which one you want to use. I recently had actually my first experience on an Alaska upgrade on a Virgin aircraft. I would say it was actually probably one of my favorite transcons that I've been on. I think the Virgin seats, the overall experience on that flight was like, I just got off super happy and like ready to be on the East Coast. So that was one. I remember the first time I got the chocolate in, actually it was an economy, and they came by and they said, thank you for your loyalty, and they gave me that chocolate. I was like, this is a nice touch. And then I tried the chocolate and I was like, this is a great touch. And then what are some of my other favorite experiences in Alaska? I've had generally the customer service in Alaska is the main reason that I fly. It's been like pretty above and beyond my experiences on other airlines, to say the least, although that's not the bar I'd use. And so if I think back, there's things like recovering a lost item, or just like talking to flight attendants on a long flight and trying to just enjoying that conversation. Getting like my bag sorted when there wasn't enough space. Everything's just kind of been easier. So it's not a specific experience, but I would say as a general rule, it's kind of the interaction with the flight attendants and the ground staff in the airport that's been my kind of Alaska highlight.
Great. Can you talk a little bit more about the role the flight attendants play in your experience?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're kind of like they run your experience on the plane, and so I think they're arguably maybe the pilots are super important, but you don't get to see what they do. So the flight attendants, for me, the role they play is they make me feel welcome. They make me generally I don't know. It's maybe hard to describe. It's obviously a service role, and so I think that there are many ways that can go wrong if the flight attendant doesn't feel if maybe I'll phrase it positively. I think flight attendants who are enjoying helping people have a great trip make a huge impact on the customer experience, certainly on my experience. I'm enjoying flying. They seem to be enjoying the fact that they're providing a great service. And I think that experience is very common in Alaska, and it's not as common elsewhere. And so I think that's super important.
Maybe you talk a little bit more about that in terms of what does Alaska do that you don't think other carriers do?
I think there are really concrete things like the handing out of the chocolate, the recognition of the elite members, and then less concrete, but actually in the moment concrete things like they smile and seem to, actually care about, hey, this flight needs to board quickly, not because then my day's over, but because then everyone's on their way and the whole system works. I think that those kinds of things are super important. That's kind of my main.
What can we do better? What can we do to be the best West Coast airline?
So I certainly already think you guys are the best West Coast airline, but to maintain that crown, I think that's a hard thing to maintain. Is obviously the fleet is now diversified. There's the weird split. That hasn't actually been I haven't had any negative experiences or could attribute anything either way, but kind of maintaining that culture as you grow is pretty important. I think actually the biggest things to do are kind of more corporate strategy. It's network planning and making sure that all the flights, like that, all the places I want to go. I can reach on Alaska, especially as I shift. So I'm a splitter. I like do most of my loyalty on Alaska, but then I still have enough flying left over to be executive platinum on American. And like, I think as I travel less, or there's incentives to shift all of that to Alaska, I think the things that like kind of gate me from that are the international elite benefits, having a route network from the East Coast. Even though I'm super West Coast based, like my parents live in New York, and so like it's, you know, I kind of need to have either the partnerships or actual flights that leave from the New York area in order to like fully commit to an airline. It's hard to be totally West Coast based for me, although I may be unique in that regard. But I think the bread and butter things, it seems like you guys are already doing, like having upgrades, maintaining that as a core kind of value proposition that's diversified and unique compared to the other airlines, and then just a fantastic mileage plan. I mean, that's like a huge draw.
That's great. I think that might be all. Yeah, I think we got it.
Cool.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Grab that.
Make sure I don't destroy them.